Hello everybody, it's Danny from Deepsouth Homestead again. We are putting our lathing on top of our roof here. As you see, I've already got it completely put on one side. Now there's a process that we go through. I usually put a 2x6 at the very bottom and at the very top. I do that because if wind is ever going to get a hold to anything, it's either going to be at the very bottom or it's going to come loose from the top. And if I've got something wider there that I've got more nailing power to or more screwing power, then I want to put the 2x6 at the top and at the bottom. Now there's a reason I do it at the top. I use a 20-inch ridge cap on the ones that I build, which is 10 inches on each side. And by the time I come up on top of my metal and everything, if I put a 2x6 and by the time I get to my lip, it leaves me a piece of wood to screw into rather than just having to screw through metal. That way I can screw through the ridge, through the tin, and into the wood by putting a 2x6 all the way across the top. And the same thing goes for the bottom. When I'm putting my trim around the bottom, I put the 2x6 at the bottom also. That gives me room to put my screws for my trim and everything. And plus, it's just sturdier, guys. I mean, people who put metal roofs on and they don't put all the trim to go with it is just asking for trouble, because with the trim it prevents the wind from ever getting the metal loose where it can start vibrating it and tearing it loose. Now when I put the lathing on, I use 2x4 lathing, and we'll come back on this one, and when we insulate it I'll show you what I do. Now if you live in a colder zone than we do, it pays to put the 1.5-inch rigid insulation in between those laths before you put the metal on it to help insulate the roof. But where we live at, it doesn't get that cold. It gets pretty hot, but we need the airflow and the ventilation in order to be able to stay cool, so I don't worry too much about it. I may put some styrofoam from the inside of the house, but not up under the metal out here like it is now. But also, when I put my lathing on the roof, I did not join them butt to butt like this all the way up evenly. I staggered them. You know, I put one like that, you know, get my fingers just right. I staggered them. In other words, I didn't put them all butt together like that. And you can see in the video how I had a 10-foot one, a 16-foot one, a 10-foot one, a 16-foot one. And by doing that, it allowed me to not let my rafters all join, my lathing all join on one rafter. Now that we have all of our lathing on, I'm going to go back and I'm going to start on my fireplace end over here, and I'm going to go ahead and cut the ends of those off at the right distance I want them from the building, from my overhang, and I'm going to go ahead and put my barge rafters on and all that. And go ahead, when I put the reason I'm starting at the fireplace is when we put our first sheet of metal on, I'll go ahead and cut it around the chimney and I'll still have my lathing to sit on, and I can flash it while I'm sitting right there. I don't have to get back on top of my metal to do anything. That's usually the way I do it. Then once we get that done, I'll come back and put the rest of the metal on, and in that video I'll show you how I put my metal on. I'll show you how I put the ridge cap on, all the trim and everything else like that. But this is the part of the video we wanted to show you about installing lathing. Now, a lot of people screw their lathing, and I don't have a problem with that. I think it's a good idea. We're nailing ours. I've always nailed mine with a coated nail that allows it to stick in the wood really good. Now we'll come back. I was mentioning to Wanda, I've done this to all the homes I built before Hurricane Katrina. I put the little small hurricane clips on the inside and tie the lathing to the rafters on every other lathing. Guys, I did not lose one roof during Hurricane Katrina, which I felt like was pretty good odds. So on this one, we will probably do the same thing, but we'll show you that probably in a later video once we get the roof on and we're able to get in and get it dried in, because that's our main focus right now, is just getting it dried in. Y'all can probably see in the video on this side over here, I did not cut the rafter tails off, and there's no fascia board or anything like that going on it. That's because in the future we're going to be adding a porch onto it, and there's no need cutting them rafter tails off because they're going to be up in the porch and they're not going to be seen anyway. So I'm just going to leave them running wild right now until I get ready to put the porch on, because it won't be a problem. But on the back side of the cabin, we've already put the fascia board on, the subfascia, let me call it that, on, because we're going to have fascia boards and all on that side, and soffit and all that kind of stuff. So with that side of the roof will look completely different than this side will. So guys, I hope you've learned a little bit of something about how I install lathing here in the Deep South, and I hope it will help you out on your next project. Thank you from Deep South Homestead.